This is a big magnet. It's 23 times as massive and 4 to 5 times the diameter of Earth. And when it passes, the bully magnet wins.
Leader believes Planet X is hurtling towards Earth, and when it passes by, it will cause untold chaos, tilting our planet's axis.
It points its North Pole at us. Our North Pole gives a way to evade that. When it does so rapidly that the slippery magma just under our crust loosens. The crust moves, the core realigns, and meanwhile, North and South are where they used to be.
This shifting of the poles will literally turn the world upside down. Chaos is just beginning. It will trigger earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis.
What we'll feel is what I call lurch day. The Earth will begin slowing in its spin. This will be a time of great hazard for humanity because radiation, particularly X-rays, is going to be very bad. This is a time when, if you're not underground, you'll be the proverbial tool in the microwave.
Those as essentials like washers and dryers, and foods are like appliances. You'll go washer and dryer with sanitized cycle, $6.99 each. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's.
When managing diabetes, you can't always stop for a finger stick. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, a continuous glucose monitor, you don't have to. With a painless 1-second scan, you can check your glucose with a smartphone or reader, so you can stay in the moment, no matter where you are or what you're doing. Ask your doctor for a prescription for the Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without finger sticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna get the tempo.
I thought I was managing my moderate to severe Crohn's disease until I realized something was missing. Me.
You don't fix this.
My symptoms
From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I bid you all good evening and or good morning, wherever you may be across this great land of ours. From the Tahitian and Hawaiian Islands in the west, nestled in the warm trade winds of the Pacific, eastward to the Caribbean and the U.S. Virgin Islands, with their own soft wind. South into South America. North all the way to the pole and Texas. And by the way, hello to my friends down at the Antarctic at McMurdo. This is Coast to Coast AM. I'm Art Bell, and it's great to be here tonight. We are going to talk tonight about one of my favorite topics in the world, maybe my favorite actually, time travel. In the first hour, I'm going to talk to time travelers, you. Those of you out there who claim to be time travelers. Now, in the second hour, we're going to have actually a very serious guest on time travel. David Anderson, Dr. David Anderson, PhD, is a former United States Air Force officer, flight test engineer, and scientist who developed a passion for space-time study while conducting research at the prestigious Air Force Flight Test Center. Now, listen to this. For the last 20 years, he has been formulating and developing his breakthrough concepts in space-time physics and the study of time. His work led to the development of what today is called the time warp field theory. His research holds the first promise for the development and application of practical time control technology. In 1995, Dr. Anderson founded the Time Travel Research Center, today the world's most advanced research laboratory organization called the Time Travel Research Association, which networks time travel information and interests from more than 80 countries around the world. Now, as you know, many of our nation's top theoretical physicists insist that with a proper amount of energy, time travel is definitely going to be possible. Therefore,
The truck has 10 pounds.
if time travel is going to be possible, if that is an accurate scenario, then one might reasonably ask, well, then where are the time travelers? They ought to be here, right? They ought to be here. And I suspect they are here. Now, I'm not saying that when I begin picking up lines here in a few minutes, requesting to talk to any of you who claim to be
I need a
time
2-minute
travelers.
break. I'll be right back, guys.
I'm not saying that these people are real, and I'm not saying they're not. That's for you to judge. All I'm saying is that it is reasonable to assume that if time travel will eventually be a reality, then there should be time travelers here now. There really should. But this hour, what I want to do is talk to people, you out there, who claim to be travelers in time. Believe me, it's interesting. Strange, but interesting. So if you're a time traveler, call me. That's all we're going to take calls from this hour. People who claim to have arrived here, be here now, through time, through whatever method. Oh, coming right up. Time travelers only. If you have traveled in time, or you are presently a traveler to this time, then we want to hear from you. Otherwise, the phone lines are closed, but for that group, they are certainly open. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Yes, Art?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Connor in Strongsville, Ohio, outside of Cleveland.
So how's Ohio this morning?
It's doing very nice, very nice.
Yes.
I'm listening on WTAM.
Big one, yes.
Listening to some of these people, they're dealing with them very well. And I also propose a question asking, I was wondering if all these people are coming.
Show tonight was pretty good.
I suppose my answer would be a little
really
flip.
good.
I'd probably say,
I really
looking
like
at the way
show.
my lines are in, I probably couldn't get through.
I'm really happy
I'm
King
serious.
Vet showed up
Yeah.
over there. That was
I really
awesome.
am serious. Although I can imagine that if
King
I
Vet's
were,
a
you can
trucker.
bet that if I traveled in time,
Guys trucking shit
back
all over
within,
the place.
say, the years that I've been on the air, or forward
happy to
whatever
see that
years
show
I have left to
growing.
be on the air, I sure as hell would want to call my show. Except, I suppose that people they'd really doubt me, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting, maybe hear like someone I know, or imagine hearing yourself on the radio, 12 years in the future, or whenever someone's calling you, a young kid or something, hearing yourself on the radio.
Mm.
That'd be kind of weird.
Really?
Wow.
Makes me sick to listen to myself back then.
Okay. Well, I was just trying to pose a question. And can I say something to some people here in Strongsville?
The Strongsville?
Yeah, it's where I live.
Well, if it's a general sort of thing.
Yeah, I just want to say, vote Connor for senior class president, since I'm running, and so I just want to say that to anyone who's listening.
You called me up to give you're running for class president.
No,
Senior class president. Oh, no, somebody else is.
no, that's me.
That's you?
Yeah.
So
I called you up to propose this.
You're giving yourself a plug for senior class president on a national radio program.
Yeah.
I saw a movie. Did you see that movie about the girl who was running for, I think it was senior class president, matter of fact? There's a whole movie about it. They were sabotaging each other, and it was vicious.
No, I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, well, I can't think of the name of it offhand. Somebody will come up with it.
Okay. Well,
you should watch it. It'll help you with tactics. What are you promising? What's your platform?
My platform?
Yep.
I'm trying to give back to the senior class of Strongsville.
Less homework.
Give back to students. There's some things that maybe they're not happy with the school.
It was called Election, by the way. The movie was simply called Election, so you're going to want to see that as soon as you can.
Oh, wow. That's right.
Anyway, you're going to give back what?
Whatever the students need to talk to me about. I mean, if they need to talk to me about something,
Do you have any, as senior, if you are elected, do you have power to help them?
some power. I mean, that's another thing I want to work on. I want to make the student government tax funds of high school more powerful. So, because it's rough tumble to deal with, but I'm running and staying strong in the election, so it should be a pretty good race.
What makes you want to get involved in politics? That really is what it is. It's politics.
Well, the main reason I want to get involved in politics is because I basically care for people in my school. That's not just a crap answer. I mean,
yeah, but it sounds like a crap answer. You've got to come up with a new way to say it. I think Clinton had what? I feel your pain.
I don't even want to come up with a slogan.
Holy shit.
I mean, I have lots of friends and I care for them.
Stop the presses.
Well, I have a couple.
Donna Flowers is here.
On campaign signs.
Hi, Donna Flowers.
Like, don't believe all the
You are a
rumors,
fucking
that's the
sweetheart.
Hey, that's good.
Sorry, I'm swearing.
That's good. The pictures weren't as
You're a
many votes.
sweetheart, Donna Flowers.
That's a pretty good one.
I'm very happy you're
thank
here.
you very much, and be sure and see the movie
Thank
Election.
you so much,
You are on the air.
Donna.
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
You guys, Donna's awesome.
Yes.
I'm gonna
We're
give
here.
Donna the moderator. Donna, you get a
I
moderator.
am not quite a time traveler.
You get
I'm from a
moderator.
little bit different dimension here. So.
Well,
Donna
that's
gets moderator.
Okay. Listen, I think that may be
She's fucking so
virtually
cool.
the same thing. You claim to be from another dimension.
Yes, Senator.
I'm not a senator.
Oh, okay.
Donna, you're a moderator now.
You haven't testified in front of the group lately, have you?
No, not at all.
No. There's no other way somebody would say yes, Senator.
Well, actually, my original dimension I'm from, you are a senator of Arizona.
Well, I'll be damned. Of Arizona?
Yes, basically.
Senator Art Bell. Arizona Senator Art Bell. Boy, that has a ring to it.
Yes, it does. Definitely does. Basically, what happened in my dimension, the South won the Civil War.
The South won the Civil War.
Yes, at the First Battle of Bull Run, basically that's where the Civil War ended. And I am from, in an alternate dimension, the Confederate States of America.
Wow. Now, did they? If the South won the Civil War, all states would be Confederate, wouldn't they?
Well, no, actually, the original Mason-Dixon line holds. There is the United States of America, which runs
at the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, roughly.
Where it is Pennsylvania, Maryland border, and also up into Canada. And the Confederate States. Shortly after that, basically, Lincoln resigned. I loved watching your Civil War. A couple of years ago, you had the CBS special, and it was a big hit in our dimension because it was something that, we never thought that had been possible. But
so that special appeared in your dimension as well.
Well, it didn't appear in my dimension. We just basically brought it back. We've been able to.
What about history between the ending of the Civil War, which you say was different, and now? It must be indeed in your dimension entirely different.
It's entirely different. Basically, what happened is the United States went ahead and invaded Canada. The Confederate States of America have basically went all the way to your Panama, which is basically Mexico, all the way to
physically possess. How much of Canada?
It's all of Canada.
All right. I've really wanted Canada for a long time,
basically,
what about this terrible conundrum of not being able to meet yourself? I mean, what if I came with you and met Senator Bell? Wouldn't I possibly blink out?
No, you're just a different person from him. You're not sort of difficult to explain. I don't know. My job basically is pretty much to go out. I'm retired. My job is to go out.
I can hear the southern accent in you, no question about it.
Yes, but no, I'm basically retired. My job was to go out to different dimensions and sort of scout them out and see basically how they're different.
You sound a little young to be retired. Who am I to talk?
I've had rejuvenation. So.
Rejuvenation. Yes. Another advantage in. By the way, how should we consider this dimension? Is there a way to phrase where you say you are from? Is it fourth dimension, fifth dimension?
Basically, we've explored right now about 50 different offshoots of the planet Earth.
Holy smokes, you mean different dimensional renderings of Earth?
Basically, from our dimension, how time is split differently. There's a lot of of course, there's a couple of splits where the United States lost the Cold War. We, of course, there's several where we lost the Civil War. There's one where basically Nazi Germany won.
Nazi Germany won?
World War II.
World War II. Boy, what a hellish place that must be.
Yes, it is. It's extremely bad. We basically, well, I talked to some of the people, they popped in and they saw swastikas in Richmond and they left. That's about all we know.
Now, our theoretical physicists are presently in this dimension beginning to realize there are other dimensions. Some of our best are saying that, but they're speculating 10, some more, and you're saying as many as 50.
50 that we've explored. There are a lot more. We didn't find, basically, we found part of this technology in Europa, which is, has an intelligent race. I don't know if it has it here. We haven't really got to the point where we could explore.
We're very curious about Europa in this dimension, thinking it might have some form of life, but probably fairly primitive.
Well, this is, I don't know quite how to explain it. This dimension's probably, it's fairly dangerous to go to.
The one we're in, you're talking about?
Yes. The one that we're in currently.
Stop with the senator stuff already.
Okay. All right.
I'm not a senator in this dimension.
Okay.
And I don't much have respect for a lot of them either.
Okay. Well, then I apologize.
So, in fact, it worries me to even think that I might be one in another.
Okay.
But Arizona would be a good state.
It's a very nice state.
Anyway, this is no kidding on this dangerous dimension stuff. I mean, I'm reading, I'm reading this environmental news, and the ozone layer is getting gigantic to the point where they say it's going to be affecting us up north here, the way Australia
make as many jokes as
the
possible.
ocean is warming, the storms are getting worse.
Because that's the way to draw the ghosts.
Things are going to hell in a handbasket,
Knock
really.
shit off the
Well, we're concerned about that.
Now that I think about it, but I mean, why are you here?
Basically, like I said, I'm here to basically to scout out different areas to determine whether or not to actually present ourselves to governments. That's one of the things I do.
Do you think that's a good idea, or do you think that's a dangerous? No, not such a good idea.
It's a very dangerous idea. We to basically say that I'm from the Confederate States of America.
That's going to get you in trouble right away.
It's going to get me in trouble. We did settle the slavery issue when Robert E. Lee was president.
So you're saying then that the Confederate States did not maintain slavery?
No,
perhaps a longer period of time, but not.
It basically it went away. He had what was called a LaFouche plan, which slaves were able to buy their freedom, and they had a choice of going back to Liberia or staying here. And if they stayed here, they had to basically move out of the state that they were originally enslaved in. And at that time, we were basically annexing Mexico, and there was a lot of land down there.
So, boy, in your dimension, we have a lot more land. I mean, we swallowed Canada in one quick bite, and then a lot of Mexico as well, huh?
Well, the Confederate States took Mexico. We took Mexico, and then what you call the United States took Canada. Yes.
So you all were rebels with a real cause.
Yes, we were. I guess now
a bunch of land grabbers is what you are.
Well, that was quite a while ago.
I know. That's what they say here too. So, what is the future for this dimension? Is it a rosy one, or
I don't know.
Kind of a poopy one?
I guess the thing that we're most surprised about, since we went to a lot of dimensions with this level of technology, is the lack of space travel that you have done. I've seen other, I've seen other areas with the same tech level or the same technology that you have, and they already have a colony on the moon. They've already landed people on Mars. They're towing asteroids.
Listen here, I'm pressed by the clock. I've got to take a break. You want to hold on? You're really an interesting person.
Yes, I can hold on for just a little bit longer.
Just a little longer?
Probably maybe 10 more minutes. I really don't. It's conspiracy. Conspiratorial. I really don't like this.
All right. Give me 10 minutes. I'll be happy with that. Stand by. In this dimension. I'm Art Bell, and this is Coast to Coast AM. Don't touch that dial.
This is Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell from the Kingdom of Nine.
You know, at the top of the hour, we have a PhD type
gotta run
coming
outside.
on to talk about time travel. Real time travel is such a romantic notion for me.
I gotta run outside for 10 minutes. Will you guys please behave? You guys try to behave in the chat.
Can you imagine?
I'll be right back.
Another
10 minutes.
Maybe another dimension, another world, another way things work out in time. Really, really interesting stuff. Anyway, we're going to get back to our dimensional traveler in a moment.
Right back.
Thank you for waiting, caller. Is there a big, isn't dimensional travel a type of time travel?
Not really. As far as our scientists can tell, no, not really. What happens is, I guess time is funny. When I go back to my dimension, it's the same time as it is here.
So time is linear in each different dimension.
Yes, as far as we know. I guess one.
So that means Art Bell, the talk show host, and Art Bell, the senator, do they live to be different ages?
Yes, they can. I mean, I know of you, at least in one other dimension, where you host, you're not going to believe this, you host a talk show on the moon. You are basically broadcast from the moon.
From the moon.
Basically,
I would entertain that option if it were given to me. Listen, there's somebody who would like to ask you a quick question. On my international line, where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Larry. I'm calling from Sudbury, Ontario, 300 miles north of Toronto.
Actually, territory that isn't even actually Canada.
That's right.
To my present.
There is an Ontario. It's just another flag in the United States. All right. It's Robert, is it? Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question. What are the cars like there? Are they heavy, Ford? Do they drive differently? Same kind of transmissions? Some of the names of the cars?
Really good questions, yeah.
Basically, we have what's called in Atlanta, which is our equivalent of Detroit, is what's called Trafalgar Iron Works, and they have a variety of different models and makes.
So, in other words, that is your Detroit.
Yeah, Atlanta is basically our Detroit. Basically, I guess what would be called a lot of. I'm going to be polite here. I guess a lot of. Y'all prefer to call Negroes blacks, right? I want to make sure that I don't offend anybody, but blacks.
Blacks in this dimension would be proper.
Okay, would be blacks. Okay, blacks moved up into, I guess, the Iowa area, and there's a town, very large town there called New Jerusalem, which is the
New Jerusalem in Iowa,
United States.
Now he asked about cars. Can you describe any automobiles?
Pretty much they would be the same. Ours mostly run on electric. We don't have a lot of diesel.
Figures.
We in the South prefer a big muscle car.
How can you have a muscle electric car? I guess you could if you had enough electricity.
Yeah.
He's gone. We lost him. He said out of gas. He said he only had 10 minutes, and I guess
that's true.
His 10 minutes are up.
But I love questions like that, Art.
Well, so Detroit is virtually in Atlanta, huh?
Yeah, interesting. I also wanted to ask him about trains and aircraft.
How would you guys feel being consolidated as U.S., never having been?
Well, if it was the natural evolution of history, I mean, it would be fine. You know what I mean? As long as you don't force the issue. I mean, if that's the way it happened, well, that's the way it happened. We're at the same time, Canada and the United States are both very different.
So you wouldn't have that medical
very
system.
Much the same.
You wouldn't have that medical system up there. You wouldn't have. But you would have.
Well, that medical system is on the shaky legs right now. There's a lot of controversy.
I've heard that. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, listen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And, you take care. Caller from Canada. Well, in this connection. First time caller line. You are on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes.
Art, how are you?
I'm quite well. How about yourself?
Well, I'm doing quite well, thank you. Listen, it's been a long time. I've been listening to you for years.
For years now, huh?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Are you a time traveler?
Well, yeah, something happened to me because of your show.
What?
Well, first of all, it goes back to 1995. I'm located up here on the Russian River in Santa Rosa on KSRO country, and we were flooded. Our house was like basically cut in half. I was forced into work many days in a row. I'm a truck driver. I've listened to you for years, over the night, like you have mentioned.
Yes. The time travel part.
Well, the time travel part goes like this. I was working so many days that I caught one of your shows, and I listened to Malachi Martin.
Yeah.
And he told me or to most of your audience, how to pray, how to accept acceptance. And something happened, man.
What?
I'm tired. I've gone I'm running illegal. I'm going 23, 24 days in a row.
I hear a lot of truckers do that.
Yeah, but
And so you had an epiphany on the road.
No, man.
No?
Something happened, and suddenly I got touched. I felt like I got hit by like a little golden wand or whatever that hit me on the top of my head.
Are you sure that you just didn't bang your head on as you were getting out of the truck or something?
No. I made sure that that's not what happened. If anything, it woke me up to a lot more than what I knew in the past, and I started to see into the future. And what I started to see into the future was this. I didn't see so much of the doom and gloom. What I started to see was the things that
I want to drive my own
natural changes.
gas-fueled car
We're going through
as well,
a tremendous rate of change right now.
I don't know if I
And
trust
it includes
Tesla.
all of us. But most importantly, what I saw in a flash,
People say
and then
robots are going to take over.
What I saw was a better place to be.
People are going to say robots are going to take over, but there's no everlasting battery. You have to burn things to make it roll.
Seizing a galleon that would come close and throw the grappling hooks over and pull it in.
In other words,
How far ahead is that? Because right now the signs, the canaries are dropping like flies here.
yeah, I realize the canaries are dropping like flies. I realize that we've got global warming and there's chunks of ice like melting and breaking
Right.
off.
So then when does it get better?
The better part is around the corner, and I would say maybe in 10 years. What I saw was something that flashed upon
So you
me.
didn't actually, then you didn't really travel in time. You saw ahead in time is what you did.
Well, I'm not exactly sure how you would say that. All I know is that something touched me.
Were you actually, okay, let's put it this way. Were you seemingly there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear that.
No, hold on a second. I know what you're going to say, Art. I know what you're going to say.
What?
Hold on, man. No, this is something that happened in an instant.
Well, what
It happened in a moment?
No, I understand that. But look, there would be critics who would say, you said you were driving illegal, you were doing 1 million hours, you shouldn't have done it. You had a brain spasm.
No, it wasn't a brain spasm. No,
A trucker's brain spasm.
Wow.
How do you know? Because that would be the criticism. Especially with what you said.
Well, I'll tell you exactly how I know. First of all, it was a warm feeling. It was a feeling of acceptance, and it kind of glowed the whole cab of inside my truck after so many years of not really believing, so to speak, being a hard, kind of tough guy. And all of a sudden realizing and seeing something that was so cool. I said, you know what? There is something else out there. And it's powerful. And you know what? I got an immediate calm about me. And for a moment, the blink of an eye and a blink of your eye, what I saw was the state of the future. And
what you saw was a rosy future. All right, I've got it. So, trucking into the future. Guess we'll call that. I don't know. A trucker. I can't rule out the possibility that he whacked his head as he got out of the truck, or that his cab warmed up when he sort of fell off the cliff mentally after driving for so many hours. You've got to allow that at least as a possibility. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yeah, hi, Art.
Hello.
I've been doing some dimensional traveling.
Yourself, huh? Yeah. So again, well, okay, then let me ask you like I did the first caller, who apparently had a prepaid phone card that ran out. Is time linear in every dimension, as he suggested? It is. And from what is the dimension like that you are from?
It's very similar. And that's one problem that they had there was when I was sent, they gave me this special card that I was supposed to, when I come back.
You were sent?
Huh?
You were sent?
Yeah. That when I was supposed to come back, I was supposed to check it to make sure I was in the right dimension.
Yeah.
And it didn't match.
Oh, right. So in other words, you're saying you were tossed here by mistake.
Well, we found out that there's so many.
What are the differences? Can you describe any differences? Do they have dogs there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Houses?
Yeah.
Detroit, cars?
Right. The main
ozone depletion, ocean warming, all the problems we've got?
Basically, yeah.
Any difference at all?
Well, there'd be differences like, okay, like that one guy, you know, you'd be like the senator, or, you know, different senators, different congressmen at different times, you know, little things. But basically, even if we lost the First World War in some dimensions, it ended up almost the same. There's different points of history that just absolutely have to happen.
Well, what about Canada and Mexico? And then, you know, I take it there is a Canada, there is a Mexico.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, there was one that I went to where Martin Luther King didn't exist. Malcolm X didn't.
These would be
radical.
Very different then.
Right. So the civil rights movement didn't happen.
Didn't happen? Then what would the state of blacks be in your dimension versus this one?
Well, in that one, they were still segregated out, you know, whites only areas and malls, you know.
Well, that stinks. So you're in a really, you should count your lucky stars that you're in a better place.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah, it's that dimension.
Are you bummed out that you're stuck here?
No. It's okay.
Do you frequently tell people what you're telling me now? No? That's probably a good idea.
Right.
They wouldn't, so a lot of them wouldn't take it real well.
Not really.
Well, listen, I certainly appreciate you calling me.
Okay.
And you have a good night, sir. West of the Rockies, wait a minute here. Let me do this again. Oh, boy. West of the Rockies, are you there?
I'm here.
Good. You're on the air.
Yes. This is Bob in California.
Hello, Bob.
I met myself when I was 8 years old. I met myself.
Now, you see, I've heard you can't do that, but you're saying you can.
I met myself from the future. It was really, really weird. When I was 8 years old in grammar school, I'd like play alone during the recess period.
Right.
Like behind the tree with my little army men and my cars.
Oh, yes, I played with army men.
And this guy shows up, and he's like dressed all in white. It's almost like a uniform, and he had gray hair, almost white. And I kind of recognized him after the conversation, and I think it was me. But he asked me a lot of questions. He knew everything.
Oh, that's really intriguing. So, in other words, your older self from the future or a future came and met you.
Right.
How did you recognize yourself? How did you know it was you?
Good question. I think I recognized my teeth because I've got these very distinct bicuspid teeth that stick out, and I never had orthodontics. And I guess I had my permanent teeth by that age.
A sort of a Bugs Bunnyism?
Yeah, well, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
But very identifiable.
Yeah, it's like a fingerprint. And I recognized my teeth. And later, I also recognized some mole that
Other than your toothiness, how did you look? I mean, Were you aging reasonably?
Well, at 8 years old, you're not all that discriminating at white hair. And I just asked myself a lot of questions about my brother and my parents and things like that. You know, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's kind of like I went back in time to psychoanalyze myself.
Now you're confusing.
Well, see, it's like sometime in the future when I'm 60 or 70 years old, I somehow,
obviously, you will go back, right?
Yeah, I get access to a time machine or some kind of astral projection or something.
And you, whatever it is, you will go back and meet yourself at 6 years of age or whatever.
Well, I think it's supposed to be 8 or 9.
Is that Walt Disney?
And
Is that what you're talking about?
Got it.
I wish I could tell you some information. I wish I had given you hints of things that happen in the future that I could tell your audience.
But most of the questions that you had, I mean, obviously, I understand they'd be personal.
Yeah, I think I just went back there to kind of get a glimpse at myself when I was a child.
Believers of Planet X
Which end of it do you really remember, or do you remember both ends? Do you remember?
No, I only remember what occurred, you know, when I was 8. You know, I'm just 36 right now.
Right.
So I guess sometime in the future when I have white hair, I got a little bit of gray already. I've got this mole that just showed up under my eye that this guy had.
Same mole, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, at 8 I didn't have it, but I got it about 5 years ago. And
well, we're getting there. I mean, this is nearly enough to convict you if it was a crime. A mole and a toothiness and other general characteristics that you could see where you must have been really weird.
Well, it didn't really dawn on me until this mole sort of started growing on my cheek, and then I sort of thought back to that memory, and as my face kind of goes, you know, think of yourself when you were 8. If you were to meet yourself today, would you recognize yourself?
What an interesting question. I was an annoying little SOB. I'd probably recognize myself. So, I guess, but I'm not, now that I think about it, I'm not really sure. So, but you obviously did, and what a weird thing it must have been.
I thought I just should share it with you, and maybe you can ask.
And how weird it must be to think that you are going to do it. I mean, this is something that lies in your fairly immediate future.
No. I have white hair in the person I met, so I think it's probably 30 years.
Yeah, well, 30 years, but 30 years are cosmically is a, you know, it's a blink in time. It's nothing. It's nothing. All right. Well, listen. Thank you very, very much for calling.
Okay.
I've got a scoop. We are going to talk about time tonight, as we already have been, but now with an expert. I'm Art Bell, and from the high desert, this is Coast to Coast AM. A Kingdom of Nine. All right. It's my favorite subject of them all, frankly. It's time travel. And we've got somebody who's doing the real research, the hardware research. He's amazing. He's Dr. David Anderson. I had him on shortly before I left last April. And I think you're going to want to hear what he has to say. And we'll catch up on what he's done. All of that immediately ahead. But rest assured, my friend, that first hour is going to be repeated as soon as we get into repeat at the end of the program. Oh, one more thing. I've had enough fun with you, I guess, on the webcam. That photograph on the webcam site where you would normally see me live. Now comes Dr. David Anderson. He is a former United States Air Force officer, scientist, and flight test engineer, founder of a company called the Time Travel Research Center. This company has pioneered the development of a time warp field technology. Did you hear me? Pioneered the development of a time warp field technology that is demonstrating that real time control is much closer than most of us realize. His company and research association are dedicated exclusively to advancing the science, technology, and is a brand new video called Time Travel Journeys into Time. This video traces the complete history of our views on time and time travel, from the ancient views of time to the latest groundbreaking technologies that are ready to change our world in the most exciting ways you can imagine. Here is Dr. David Anderson. Doctor, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Art. It's good to be here, and it's great to have you back on the air.
Thank you. Just for grins here, because that's about all that are left after the program tonight. I take it you heard at least a portion of the first hour.
Yes, I did.
Well, where do you come down in all of that? Where, do you think there is any sort of reasonable evidence that we did not go to the moon? What do you think?
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot here.
Oh yeah, sure. That's what I do for a living.
Well, you know what's interesting? The only way I can answer that question is that it's kind of the same way I look at my life now. Even though my background is in hard science and physics and mathematics, I've learned that by opening up my mind to any possibility, you can learn a lot. So I certainly wouldn't exclude anything your guests were saying, and I think it's worth listening to.
That was a good answer. That was almost like the guy from NASA. All right. You know, Doctor, there is probably nothing I'm more interested in, and I'm not even sure why, than time travel. It has always been a core of really, who suggested that there has been intervention here on this planet, that the intervention has been done by those things that we know as UFOs, but not manned by aliens. He said, interestingly, rather manned by men. Not exactly humans as we know them now, but humans from the future who have reached back to try and fix the balance of power by sabotaging a couple of programs that would have upset the balance of power and keeping us from destroying ourselves. If time travel ever does become a reality, and I know probably you can argue, gosh, it already is, Art, and we'll get to that part, but would something like that kind of manipulation, do you think the nature of time would allow that sort of manipulation?
I think the answer is that absolutely yes. I mean, there's nothing within our laws of mathematics and physics that would preclude that from being a possibility. And also, you look at the evidence. Not only our legend, but our legend and folklore are filled with stories about UFO sightings and contacts with aliens from other worlds.
Yes.
By kings, princes, doctors, lawyers, common everyday people. And it could be very possible that these stories are not about time travelers from a distant world, but instead that they're from our own future. And you look at the sightings, many of the creatures that have many human characteristics, maybe they're time travelers from our own planet visiting us from years ahead in the future.
Well, in my mind, if time travel ever can be, or is going to be, then the obvious question, I forget who it was, some famous person said, well, then where are the time travelers? And the answer might be, gosh, we're taking pictures of them all the time. I've got a very startling recent UFO photograph, things that blink in and blink out. They don't just always zoom away. Sometimes they virtually disappear. Who's to say these are not visitors from our own future?
Yeah, that's a very famous, it was by Stephen Hawking, the British physicist, and it was called his chronology protection conjecture. So if time travel is possible, where are they? Where are all the time travelers from the future? And he actually presented that almost as scientific evidence because of the lack of visitors. But you're right, absolutely. There is much evidence that, possibly, these alien sightings are perhaps time travelers from our own distant future.
So where are the time travelers? They're right here, and occasionally we even get photographs.
Yeah. There's another commonly held belief, too, now in the scientific community that possibly, any physicist will tell you that time travel may be very, very difficult, but it certainly doesn't violate the laws of our math and physics. The work we're doing, the work we've seen by Dr. Wang from NEC within the last year in superluminal light propagation, shows that this is possible.
Well, all right, a good example is Dr. Michio Kaku. He's one of our nation's foremost theoretical physicists.
Yes.
And he agrees that time travel may well be possible, but then he talks about the power that would be required to achieve it. And putting things in perspective, he's suggesting we would have to be in control of the power of a sun, or even greater, power in order to actually, I don't know, bend time or to go back in time or forward in time. But that we could do it when we get to that level. I take it you have issue with that. Actually, that's when all